Crossfire Ministries pantry. It's fall outside and we have apples in the pantry. Today we're using red delicious apples and we're going to make some apple fritters. Apple fritters are a nice snack anytime, but for kids after school or anytime on a cool day. So what we're going to do is mix 1 heaping cup. Now usually in most recipes you measure and level off your cup. This was a heaping cup of flour. And we're going to add all of our dry ingredients first. So we add a heaping cup of flour, 1/3 cup of sugar. We're going to add a teaspoon of baking powder. Now you always want to make sure that your baking powder is fresh. So it'll keep a long time, but you just want to check it every once in a while and make sure it's good and fresh. And we're just going to add just a little dash of salt. So I'm going to use my 1/4 teaspoon and just put a little dash of salt in there. We're going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon in here. Now you can add however much of these spices that you really like. Some people don't like very much cinnamon and some people like a lot. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Okay, so now we're going to mix these dry ingredients all up together. Alright, we've got most of our dry ingredients mixed up here. One thing that our recipe calls for is 1/3 cup of milk. And you know, we didn't have any milk in the pantry today, so I'm using 1 tablespoon of powdered milk. And I'm going to use 1/3 cup of water. So now we're going to add all of our liquid ingredients. I mix the powdered milk in there, and I'm going to add 1 beaten egg, my 1/3 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And in almost any recipe that you use in baking, if you want it to taste just a little bit richer, double your vanilla and it'll taste even richer. Okay, we're going to mix this up. You don't want to overbeat it. And in just a moment, we're going to add 1.5 cups of finely chopped apples. Now I cut the apples up earlier, and I put them in some water with a little bit of lemon juice. Now we're going to add those apples right into our batter. We're going to mix these in. Okay, now we have our batter all mixed up. And you know, the apples that I used in here were some of the others that I had cut some of the bruise spots out of from down in the pantry. This is a great recipe to use that fruit that you wouldn't necessarily want to have for company or send to your kids to school with your kids, but it really makes it good. And when I cut the apples up, I put them in a little bit of lemon juice and water to keep the apples from turning brown. And so that's why I drained them. Okay, now we're going to go over to the stove and we're going to check and see if our oil is hot, and we're going to fry up some fritters. Okay, I've got a little water here. I'm going to check and make sure that our oil is hot. You just want one little tiny bit of drip of water. Okay, it sizzles and pops, so our oil is ready. So now I'm going to take a spoon and just put a little spoonful of fritter in the pan. You don't want to overload your pan because it makes your oil cool down, so we're going to do 4 fritters at a time. And you don't want too much batter in. Okay, we're going to watch the fritters, and when they get brown, you notice that they get brown on the bottom, then we want to flip them over. So we're just going to kind of watch them and take our wooden spoon here, and nope, that one's not quite ready. We want to flip it yet. Okay, that was, I went ahead and flipped it over, but we want them to be just a little more brown than that. Yeah, let's just wait a minute. We're getting close. I think this one's ready. Okay, I think that our fritters, some of them are ready to get out, so I'm using a slotted spoon. I have a little tray here with some paper towel on it. You can put them on it and let them drain. You want to cook them about, probably 3 minutes or so on each side. Some may take a little longer than that, depending on the size. And if your oil isn't quite hot enough, they're going to be kind of greasy, but otherwise, they turn out really nice. Now we're going to put some cinnamon and sugar on some, and some powdered sugar on some others. Okay, our fritters are all fried up, and we're going to put cinnamon and sugar on some and powdered sugar on another. So let's just take a fritter, and I'm going to use a spoon and kind of just twirl it around. You can do it on a plate, in a bowl, whatever works for you, whatever you happen to have. This one is going to have cinnamon and sugar on it. Put that right there. Let's do one of these with some powdered sugar. I was telling Leslie while we were frying some of these that I like them with a glaze. You can just take some powdered sugar and a little bit of water and a little tiny bit of vanilla, mix up a glaze, and put the fritters on a cookie rack, and there you go. So let me do another couple of them, and then we'll try them. Okay, here's our finished fritters. So remember that all of our recipes are downstairs in the pantry in our winning rack. Because when you use things from our pantry and you make healthy, nutritious meals that are economical from things from our pantry, you're part of our winning team.